Hello everyone, my name is Heather Autumn and welcome to my channel. Alright, so we are going to be heading into Boston today and taking the commuter rail to a place called Benson's Farm, which is a co-op, and it's owned by Oceanspray. Now, if that name sounds familiar, there's a chance that you might have it in your house. These guys do the cranberry that comes in the cans, which I'm a fan of, maybe you're not. So you'll definitely see this around Thanksgiving time. They also make cranberry juice and craisins and things like that. Alright, so I am going to pack up and head into Boston. So I'm here at South Station in Boston and we are about to take a commuter train in to a cranberry farm where we're going for a cranberry tour. It's the last of the season, but it should be a lot of fun. I'm just waiting for my train to come in. Alright, so this is what the inside of a commuter rail looks like here in Boston. It was a last minute thing, I didn't know where it was, but we found it. Now we're riding this into the farm. And so Benson's Pond is actually an hour south of Boston, but the commuter rail was really beautiful. There was really no tunnel system like the subway, so I was able to look around and watch the scenery. And then from there, I took a van that was waiting for us to Benson's Pond. All right, so I'm here at Benson's Pond. They do all things cranberry and we are here today for a tour. It's the last of the season, so a lot of the cranberries have been picked. You can still see some out there. They also have this really cute on-site store that I'm gonna check out. And yeah, just a day on the farm. Now this is an 80-acre cranberry bog and they host weddings here. In fact, they had one a weekend prior to our tour, and this is owned by a third-generation cranberry grower. All right, so these bogs behind us are over 100 years old, and this is an old separating house where they used to go and separate the different kinds of cranberries. So some of those vines are also 100 years old or more. So this is becoming a very fun tour so far. So they were saying that the fields over here are flooded and it's called a wet harvest because these cranberries are actually hollow in the center and they're full of air and they'll float to the surface. So this bog is actually owned by Oceanspray, which is a co-op, and the tour guide was talking a lot about how they will reject entire truckloads of this if it's not even the right color, because they don't like adding certain additive colors to their juices, so they need that bright red to translate into their juice. See some of these stalks sticking up even here too, and those have to be hand weeded by workers. So yeah, a very intense job, and they don't have a machine to do that on their own. So it all has to be done by hand. So they were saying that the animals that come here, that the bees are super important, that geese and deer will also show up and try to eat the cranberries, so they always have to have precautions for that. This is one of the larger farms, so maybe we'll have to come back during peak season. And here we were taught a little bit about dry harvesting versus wet harvesting.
Into the vines, and then you rock it backwards, so it's got an edge to it here that's rounded, and that makes it rock like this. That kind of knocks the berries off, and the berries will go into here. Then you'd have a big box like this. These are still original boxes. You put them out and you just fill these boxes, and those also get heavy. So we put the berries in the top. You're going to see steps in the back. Good berries about 7 times. The good ones are going to come out into here. Back here you might get hit in the head with a stick or a leaf.
And then they would go through a sorting process that was primarily handled by women, and later they developed actual mechanized harvesting machines, but that was in the 1940s, and not much has changed since then. Wet harvesting is much easier, where they flood the bogs, and then they have a machine that goes through and kind of scoops up all of these cranberries, and then from there the machine will sort them. So the tour guide was saying that they put the berries up here, and then they are supposed to bounce through, and that will separate the bad berries as well as the twigs. So you can see the separator right in here. So they go all the way up, and then they bounce out here and onto the separator. So after the tour, there was this little store. It wasn't anything formal. It was really just a table with some of their things that they sold. I did end up getting some extra items, which I will show you when we get home. Their little store was so cute. So I got some chocolate covered cranberries, as well as this cran apple jam, and I can't wait to make some bread and put that on top. Alright, so back home, so one thing I didn't eat while I was there was this cran apple jam that I got. I'm hoping that I'm gonna give this a try for Thanksgiving. So be sure to tune in for that episode. I'm gonna show you what I'm making. And I also got a bag of cranberries. So I'm not entirely sure what I'm gonna do with those just yet, but I have them and I am thinking about it. So stay tuned, possibly for a future episode. All right, so here is what, of course, they look like, proper cranberry. But I wanted to cut them open so that you could see the chambers inside and see why they float when they flood the bogs. So here is the inside of a cranberry. You can see all of those little holes, and that is what causes it to float. Oh, it's very tart. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little episode. Now you know where all of your cranberry stuff comes from if you are having any at your Thanksgiving table. And as always, this is a travel and food vlog, so if you're into that kind of thing, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I post every Sunday with a possible Wednesday thrown in there and episodes that are just kind of random. So hitting the notification bell will alert you to those. And other than that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you soon. All right, bye.